We absolutely have to leave tomorrow, and
then all of a sudden, my water breaks. We're Christine and Kevin, and we've been full-time RVing for almost 5 years with our 2 kids. This is the story of the arrival of baby number 3.
we are on our very last night at the maximum 14-day stay at a state park. So we absolutely have to leave tomorrow, and what just happened?
We're winding down for the night. I'm laying down resting. Baby is active and kicking, and Kevin was feeling her move, and then all of a sudden my water breaks. This is crazy. And now I think maybe the midwives are calling. Let's see. Baby was moving a lot, and then my water broke. That's new for me, since with the last 2, my water didn't break until I was at the hospital in labor. So I wanted to get some guidance on what that means and what to do next. Not yet, no. Does it usually start from here? Okay, perfect. All right, thank you so much. This is all new to me because with Clara and Nathan, I didn't have anything like this happen before going to the hospital. I was in labor, actively laboring in the hospital, and my water broke there. So this is new. They say the 3rd baby is the wild card, and no contractions have started yet. So basically she wants me to drink or eat something sweet to see if baby will move a bit more. She was moving a lot before my water broke, but hasn't really done anything that I've noticed yet. So we're gonna try to see if we can do that. And then I think we're gonna call my dad, because here's the other thing. Not only do we need to leave this park tomorrow, we also were going to a new park where my dad was meeting us, and he was gonna park right next to us with his RV and be there to watch the kids. With the other 2, he got here 2 weeks early, and then he had to wait until my due date, and then basically 2 more weeks. Now we're 2 weeks early. Luckily, he is only an hour away. He was making his way here, and we're gonna call him, have him come stay the night with the kids. So whatever happens, whenever we need to go to the hospital, we're set. All right, my dad is headed this way. We will probably head to the hospital, thinking sometime tonight or tomorrow morning. I really don't know. Could be any time. So this is the way that the other 2 kids, who are already in bed, though not asleep, are gonna be watched if we have to go, when we have to go. I'm drinking some orange juice to get baby moving a little bit, just to double check how she's doing. Kevin's gonna finish packing some bags, and we'll let you know what happens next. All right, good morning. We have made it through the night, and we are still in our RV, obviously. So we have not yet headed to the hospital. Talking to my midwife again last night when she followed up, there wasn't anything that was concerning sounding to her. So she was comfortable letting me stay at home for up to about 12 hours after my water broke. Since that happened at about 8 o'clock last night, I am due at the hospital birthing center to see my midwives at about 8 this morning. It is now just after 6. We've been up a little while now, so we still have a couple hours to get there. Contractions did start overnight, but not really consistently yet. So they're about 10 minutes apart, ranging from about 7 minutes to 15 minutes, and they're about 45 seconds to a little over a minute long. And really, before my water broke, the protocol was when they get to 5 minutes apart, 1 minute long, consistently for about an hour, is when I would call to discuss coming in. So we're not there yet, but maybe now that I'm up and about, things will get moving a little bit more. We will see. I've been timing contractions since about halfway through the night. We did get a little bit of rest, but it was restless a little bit because I'm excited, I'm nervous, you know, contractions going on here and there, timing them, but better than not getting rest, and I think better than having been in the hospital all night. So we're grateful for that. This morning we are packing up the RV while Kevin is, with my dad's help, because it is still RV moving day. So baby girl did not time this the way that we hoped that she would time it, but I think it will all work out. It's just a little more nerve-wracking with more steps than we anticipated.
We are just about to pack up to go to the hospital because it is time, and like, honestly, things are not quite as crazy as we thought they would be at this point.
I talked to the midwives again just to confirm, and my contractions have slowed down at this point, and basically they want me to come in just so baby can be monitored. It's been almost 12 hours now since my water broke, so they like to just check that everything's good. I've still been making sure that I'm feeling her move and all of that, so that is good, but we'll double check. And they don't have to start anything right away. They don't have to do anything for a while, which is good because that should give Kevin the chance to come back and move the RV and then meet back up at the hospital. And then we'll see from there. And now we just need to walk out the door.
Let's go see if we have a baby today.
We are on the way to the hospital. We were just remarking how very different and strange this feels because it is very different from my first 2 labors. At that point, I was in active labor. I had been laboring at home for a while. This was before we became full-time RVers. And then at some point I went to the hospital. I imagined that I would be in the RV and be laboring in the RV for a while, for as long as possible. It almost feels like we could be going out just for a day of fun, you know?
Yeah, really.
Where are we going? Where are you taking me?
To the hospital for fun.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see you at the hospital.
So far so good. We're in the hospital room. This is like triage. They've got the monitor on Christine here, and so far everything looks good.
Heartbeat sounds great. I don't know if you can hear it, but so far so good. She is moving, and the midwife will be here shortly to discuss plan of attack. So I have made it into my labor and delivery room. It is a very nice, spacious room. Lots of floor space. Everything that I think I'm gonna need. They brought me a labor bouncy ball and a yoga mat so that I can try to do some things to maybe get contractions going again. I was just sitting on the labor ball bouncing a bit and having a snack and a drink and enjoying the view out these windows here. That is pretty spectacular. And I'm hoping that using the ball and the yoga mat and walking the halls a bit will get some things going. They said if by 12 plus hours, which is where we're at right now, things haven't really gotten going consistently, then the chances are that by 24 hours, when you start getting more worried about possible infection with water having broken, is also low. So I'm gonna do what I can and we'll see what happens in a couple hours.
I am back in the truck, obviously. So definitely a different birth experience from the last 2, that is for sure. Really bad timing in some ways, but really good timing in other ways. The next part of the plan is I'm gonna go move the trailer. I gotta get it to the next RV park, get the kids situated with grandpa again, and then I will come back. And as long as nothing has happened in the meantime, which it doesn't look like anything is going to, then we're gonna talk about next steps, which might be some form of induction, but we will see. Of course, moving and setting up always takes longer than you think it will. It is now 2:45. My father-in-law is now here, and it is time for me to go again and go meet back up with Christine. And it sounds like she's had some more contractions, but nothing real serious, and it sounds like they might induce when I get there. So I am going to go now.
While Kevin was gone, I continued to try various things to see if contractions would keep picking up. And though they did to a degree, I also wanted to be cautious not to overdo it to make sure Kevin would definitely make it back for the birth.
Once I got back, we were actually able to have a semi-relaxed dinner together in the room before the rest of the evening really got going.
After we had dinner, the midwife suggested I could also try using a breast pump to get labor moving. This makes your brain release oxytocin, which can kickstart contractions. I'd tried this with my first birth and it actually hadn't worked. However, that was with a handheld manual pump versus the hospital-grade pump they wheeled in this time. I wanted to try natural methods first before trying something like Pitocin, which is actually the synthetic version of oxytocin. So I thought I could at least try the breast pump, and I'm glad I did. After an hour of using the breast pump, contractions were in full swing and strong and painful enough that I clutched a comb into my palm for some measure of distraction and needed Kevin to apply a lot of counter pressure on my back, which has always helped tremendously for me. At this point, I was checked and was dilated to 7 centimeters, but the remaining lip was mostly just on one side. So they had me lay on my right side through several contractions, and that very quickly got me all the way to 10 centimeters. Then it was time to push, and before long, baby was here.
Beautiful and wonderful, yes. You're beautiful and wonderful, and I love you.
Introducing the newest member of our family, Samantha Lily Skelton. We don't know how big she is yet because she came directly to me, and they're giving us plenty of bonding time, which is really, really nice. After all of that, we both need it. But we will give you a better view of her and all the details on height, weight, before too long.
We have officially moved down the hall to the recovery room. If you can't tell by our faces, the day is starting to feel pretty long at this point, but I think we are about to get some sleep.
We just wanted to mention that baby was in fact weighed and measured, and she is 7 pounds 11 ounces, which makes her our second lightest or second heaviest child, just right in the middle, and 20 and a half inches.
Yeah.
So that was fun to find out. She is snoozing contentedly over there, and we're going to try to get as much rest as we can. So we'll do a proper introduction in the morning and tell you more about how everything went down.
Because it's so busy at the hospital, we're going to explain this next part from home. As much as we really wanted to tell you how everything went down while we were there, it was just not really possible. There were nurses in and out all the time, and we didn't really have enough time to actually just sit down and tell you guys about the whole process.
No, I definitely didn't feel up to it. Truthfully, I didn't even take a shower and put on real clothes other than the hospital gown until the second night. So it's not going to be on camera very much. But here we are, and we're going to tell you a little bit more about what went down. So I mentioned that after I was able to use the breast pump to get contractions going, I was at 7 centimeters. But I started the day at 4 centimeters dilated when I was in triage. So that was the progress that I had made up until that point, either by doing the things on the yoga mat and the birthing ball, walking the halls, and then that hour or so using the pump. At that point, the contractions were really painful for me. Contractions for me in general are super painful once I get into active labor. I envy the people that say that their contractions are like their regular menstrual cycle, or they feel like pressure, and that's without an epidural. I've heard some people say that, and I think, how? Because I tend to have a lot of back labor. That's why you see Kevin providing counter pressure on my lower back at times in the video, because I really need that, and that is really, really helpful to me. I do best when he can just really get his fingers or his knuckles in there and provide as much pressure as he can. I've had other people try to provide that for me in the hospital, and I seriously remember saying once or twice, no, please let my husband do it, because it just doesn't compare.
Yeah, it's no joke, and of course I don't want to take anything away from what mothers are going through in labor and birth and all that, but at least from my point of view, providing the counter pressure is a lot of work, because Christine seriously needs a lot, and I am literally digging knuckles into her back, right below her waistline, and doing it for long periods of time actually really, really wears me out too. This labor went a lot faster than we thought it would. I remember with Clara and with Nathan working on her back for hours and just being so beat by the end of it. And we were tired by the end of this, don't get me wrong, but this really went a lot faster. The only other thing I would say about the back pressure thing is Christine wants so much pressure on her back for labor that there's actually marks left in her back when I'm done.
It's what works best for me.
Whatever gets the job done.
Yeah, and so I just want to reiterate that, like, you know, we're a really good team when it comes to labor. We've done this 3 times now, and so we figured out what works, and that just works for us. And so the fact that it was moving day and Kevin was gone for hours and we weren't sure if contractions were going to pick up while he was away, if something would happen and the baby would come and he wouldn't make it back, you know, I would have done what I had to, of course, and the team at the hospital was there to support me. They were wonderful and we would have gotten it done. But it would have been a lot worse for me, I feel like, pain-wise, if I hadn't had him there to help out.
I think that was definitely my biggest worry about the whole day, was not making it back for the birth in time. So we really couldn't have asked for things to have worked out any better time-wise. I mean, being what it was, bad timing to begin with, but...
Babies come when babies come, and so it was the right timing for her. So once I was at 7 centimeters, knowing that I still had to go to 10 centimeters, and I had made 3 centimeters of progress in dilation all day long, which granted, you know, things really hadn't been moving along until the hour before that, but thinking, oh, I still have 3 more centimeters to go, this could take forever. But my midwife was really amazing, and she was so encouraging, and she just said, no, I think this is going to go fast. And so that really put me in a much better mindset. And so I was like, okay, this is going to go fast. We're going to do this. And so she checked me, and turns out that I had kind of a lip on one side. So most of that 3 centimeters was, I'm assuming, on my right, because she had me lay on my side on my right and go through, I think, about 3 contractions that way. And she said, let's do this and, you know, see where we are at that point. And so sure enough, I laid on my side, which was not very comfortable, but Kevin was able to give that counter pressure. And then I was like, I need to push. I'm ready to push. So even though that was really uncomfortable, just those several contractions really got me there. And it was my midwife who was so encouraging, because I was just like, this is really painful. I don't want to go through this for an extended period of time. And she was just like, no, find your breath, you know, get back to that rhythmic, you know, breathing that I was doing, and just focus. And then sure enough, it was time to push. Pushing for me in labor is also a lot of painful work. Again, I'm envious when I hear stories that, you know, women breathe the baby down, or the baby descends really easily, or they feel a little pressure and then, you know, one push and baby's out. And oh, that's just so wonderful. You know, if that was your story, or if you know somebody like that, I think that's amazing. That has never been my experience. It takes a lot of work for me to push these babies out, and it's still painful all the way through. So what I did at first, I didn't feel like I wanted to push on my side, so I turned and leaned over the head of the bed. We, you know, raised that up so I could kneel and lean, and that worked for a little while, and I made some progress that way. But I think I was just, from what the midwife said, just holding a lot of tension in my legs, and that was kind of counterproductive to trying to push. So I flipped around at their suggestion, and that then just worked wonderfully. Plus, it was really hot in that room, and we turned the fan on, and I was like, oh, this is 1,000 times better. Let's get this baby out. So just less than 20 minutes of pushing between those positions, and she arrived. So that was nice. I was able to push with the contractions and rest in between, and then baby was here. So that was the goal all along, to try to have a natural birth. But for me, it's like knowing that things may change along the way, and as long as you have a team that is going to work with you and be upfront about what's going on, what the options are, and come to that decision together, that has always been what we have wanted. So with Clara, my first birth, we tried to go natural, but in the end, after like almost 40 hours of labor, we said, well, let's do an epidural because that will allow me to rest and allow, hopefully, me to dilate the rest of the way. And that's exactly what happened. So things change, but as long as I and we feel empowered that we get to be part of that process and we're making the decisions and we know why, that has been the biggest goal, to do all that and then have healthy mama and healthy baby at the end.
I'm just really happy that I was actually able to be there for the birth. Again, that was definitely a big concern, all things considered. Christine was an absolute rock star. It was just amazing that after you were done with the breast pump, literally 46 minutes later, this one came out. As the midwives kept saying, baby number 3 is the wild card, and there were definitely a lot of firsts this time. I was actually able to catch this one this time too, and cut the cord, so I was happy to be able to participate a little bit more because the other ones were a little bit stressed right at birth time and they had to be whisked away immediately, and I didn't get that chance to do those things.
Yeah, you would have if it had been possible,
Yeah.
but so now baby number 3, hooray! So because everything was fine with Samantha right at birth, she was able to be immediately put right on my chest, and we could do delayed cord clamping, so I got to hold her immediately for a little while. She was pretty blue when she came out, and I remember saying, why is she so blue? Even though I know, the coloring of babies is often like that when they're born, and all they did was, they rubbed her a little bit with a towel, and then she started crying, and right there with me.
With the first 2 births, I don't think you got to see that
No.
right away because she was taken away so fast,
Very
which is why I
quickly.
think you were surprised at the color of her.
So even with baby number 3, I'm learning things. Like there are several things I remember reading or hearing during this pregnancy and thinking, why don't I already know that? This is my 3rd baby. But there's always something new, something different. I guess that makes it exciting.
The only other difference this time worth mentioning was that with the previous 2 births, I stayed in the hospital with Christine the entire time. This time I stayed the first night, and then for the second night I was back home with the kids. Also, because of the unexpected nature of the whole thing, Christine's dad had some medical appointments the very next day, so that was another reason for me to go back and be with the other 2 kids so he could go.
And then they were able to come with you to the hospital. Well, it is my last morning here, and a lot of people have already stopped by, nurses and specialists, just to do the regular checkups. I already have the green light to go home today, and baby, I think, has maybe one more visit, and then we get to go home.
Okay, let's go in. Slowly. Go on in. Keep going.
Clara, hi Nathan. Hi my kids. I missed you so much. I missed you. Hello.
Baby.
Here's your baby sister.
She made a noise.
I'm a big sister, and I'm a big brother.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
The nurses
that's
gave it to them at the check-in. We just got here and the kids are meeting their sister for the very first time.